Power of the Prime's Wreck-Gar. Now, this is something that we didn't know was coming, but we had a interesting reveal from a very weird source, which was there is a Russian social media network that is linked to their official Transformers website page. And last month, over the period of their advertising for their Valentine's Day stuff, they had a whole bunch of images, and a lot of that kind of stuff went under the radar. And then one image caught the eye of obviously the English speaking Transformer fandom, and it was that of a Power of the Prime's Wreck-Gar figure. And what it is they took the Combiner Wars groove from the Defensor set and just repainted it, gave it a new head sculpt, which is a Wreck-Gar looking head sculpt, gave it an accessory that is that of Power of the Primes, where you can put your Prime Master inside your Combiner piece. And there you go. And they had it with a flower and all that stuff, again, related to the... It's a very weird choice of image and stuff. I would have, I mean, if there was, I think I would have taken like the Elita 1 Voyager or something for that photo. It would have been a nice color contrast. But anyways, so it shows that this exists. And this was something that was speculated as far back as July of last year, but people kind of swept it under the rug because there was a Walgreens listing in their computer system for a Wreck-Gar figure, but some people thought, oh, maybe it's just the Combiner Wars Legend Scale groove that was repainted into Wreck-Gar, which we did get released. That did come out here. And so they thought, oh, maybe it's just that, and it's a mislisting. And Walgreens, sometimes their prices are all over the place before something is finally put on shelves in their computer systems. But lo and behold, looks like this thing is a reality. And it's funny, too, because, I mean, we just had Toy Fair, and there was no signs of this being a thing.
Yeah.
So the general consensus right now is that this is going to be probably some kind of Walgreens exclusive in the near future. And yeah, it's another excuse to, I mean, that groove mold didn't get a lot of traction out of
Right.
a lot of those Combiner Wars molds. A lot of them got a lot of repaints and a lot of remolds, especially the cars. I mean, even when you look from the Transformer Club and the BotCon stuff, like they made sure to get the most mileage out of those molds, but the groove mold itself didn't really get a lot of mileage.
I
Uh,
guess it's kind of hard to think of more multiple motorcycles to do. I mean, I think probably the last motorcycle you would do is if you were like, we're gonna do RC Prime,
well,
from the Prime series.
and
You know what I
especially
mean?
because like the motorcycle that Groove is he's one of those, like, I guess anyone saw Chips.
Oh, he's like a hog.
Yeah, I'm dating myself here, but it's like, he's kind of one of those. He's not like the typical speed bike that people associate with
He's
motorcycles
not.
today
It's
and
not
stuff.
a Kawasaki Ninja. He's more of a hog Harley Davidson. Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it. But
Yeah,
yeah, Chips is the right way to put it.
so it's just, and the way even that mold, how it was distributed, was at first the only way you could get it was through the Japanese, and then they did a standalone release of it that you could only get through the Hasbro Toy Shop for America, and that mold itself, to my recollection, only got used to make Afterburner, and they heavily retooled it to make Afterburner for Computron. And when
Because
if you look at Afterburner for Computron, you look at the groove. There's a lot of retooling there, so it's just to be able to do that. So and that's the only thing I could really think of.
I mean, I thought you would have been able to stretch it. Do like a, oh hey, we didn't actually get to make that Soundwave. Yeah, Soundwave G2 Soundwave laser bikes.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, well, yeah,
Do that,
that's
like
a
I
very
mean,
good example. Well, that's something that if BotCon still existed, that would have been
yeah.
a thing. You like because I know that, and this is maybe I think this is public. Let me just
Double check.
hold on. I mean, this is public. I had to check. There was a little cut there. But yeah, at one point, the club was playing with the idea of a Beast Machines thrust with that mold.
Oh, okay.
But of
Yeah, I can
course,
see that.
because if anyone who's messed with that mold, you could kind of play with it a bit and get the wheels on the feet.
Mm.
So, and that was, and nothing official. It was just, hey, what if we did this? I literally have a huge folder on my computer of, hey, what if we did this?
Yeah,
Hey, what if we
exactly.
did that?
Bunch of ideas.
Just, because you never know. Like, especially if BotCon kept trucking along and BotCon
Hmm.
would have 15 figures per year, you got to really stack the deck.
Yeah,
So, I
exactly.
mean, but that's why there really wasn't a lot done with this mold. So I guess it's just Hasbro going, okay, we have this motorcycle mold. We got to do something with it. What do we got? And like you said, RC really is first of all a thinner character, speed bike kind of thing. If you're not talking a car RC, and then after that, when you're talking motorcycles and Transformers, it's a very short list. There's not a lot of stuff. I mean, that's a character
I
art.
kind of I kind of feel like we started getting really good. Hold on. Let me hold off. I would say motorcycle transformers. We started seeing more of them. I think in Prime, and they were starting to get really good. Uh, I really do like that. Was it Road Rocket? What's the original G
Yeah,
two?
Road Rocket was the G2 one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I really like that Road Rocket, but it doesn't seem like
Laser
anyone.
Cycle.
Yeah, they never really tried to do that again. And I'm thinking, and I'm again personally, I'm thinking of Kawasaki stuff.
Well, I think that the evolution of it is, especially when you look back, the first two real legit Transformer motorcycles going all the way back to G1 was Groove
Wreck-Gar.
and Wreck-Gar.
Yeah.
And because of the bulkiness of the technology back then, they had
Hmm.
to be these fat,
Yeah.
these fat motorcycles. And then like I mean there was like a minor like Micromaster motorcycle that was used during the Japanese run of Operation Combination,
Right.
which which didn't really, I'm not going to use that as the best example of engineering for a motorcycle because it's a Micromaster, which they all share more or less the same kind of transformation.
Okay.
But you
Yeah.
had that one, and I mean, I'm just
G
staring at.
two. I think G2 we started getting like okay the ball joints the ball like get the ball joints
Well,
together, let's keep
yes. Well,
going.
Road Rocket was that tail end G2 where all of
I
a sudden
think
ball
G-
joints was a thing, and then you could really manipulate stuff, and Road Rocket really was that first, like you said, Kawasaki Speed Ninja motorcycle.
what was the name of his counterpart that was the hog?
Road Pig.
Road Pig. And then I think after that, wow, what was that guy from? Was it Armada or was it Energon?
You're talking about Sideways.
Yeah, yeah, with
And
the double
Sideways
head,
again. Sideways was they
the
were
hog.
trying to do something that looked like that kind of speed motorcycle, but because of the bulkiness of the designs, it kind of looked like the in between of the two.
Mm.
That kind of more sit down, simple, hog motorcycle measured against the more speedster kind of speed bike.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean, let's put it this way.
Ooh,
The
and then you got. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You got oh, what's his name from the Scouts? The Scout line.
Oh well, there was a few. Yeah, when you get to the movie line, there was
Yeah,
there
yeah,
was
yeah,
there was
yeah.
that there was
But
there
there's
was quite. But even like to even like
sorry
jump in,
about
but
that.
no, it's fine. Even to jump in between, like you had Tarantulas in
Hmm.
Transmetals was kind of a motorcycle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then when we were doing stuff, there was a Tarantulas motors, like they took the Wreck-Gar mold and just said, oh, this is pre Beast Wars Cybertron Tarantulas. That
Mm,
was like one of the first ones we did before we did the Bacon one later with me,
yeah.
when we used the other molds. But it's always been a very short list. I mean, I do agree. Like if we had characters to pick, really, you could do Road Pig possibly with this mold, with this Wreck-Gar slash Groove mold here from
Hmm.
Combiner Wars. You could do maybe a Sideways. That name hasn't really come up in quite a while. It's
Right.
been, it's still licensed with Hasbro, but they haven't really done much with it. But I could see them revisiting it. But at the same time, I think it's more so like I always say, it's idea bankruptcy. There's not so much that you could do with this that could be realistic that you would you'd want to put on the shelf. Add
Right.
now with the new current climate with Toys R Us going under and everything and less
Yeah.
less space to put product out. Now you really got to you can't just willy nilly throw a repaint together and throw it out there. I mean
Yeah.
that was the one thing what I liked about Beast Wars in the past was when it first kind of started, if they were going to do a repaint of something, it had to be make sense.
Mm.
Like they weren't just like repainting stuff. Like I think that the primary like the crazy repainting of stuff to really get stuff out of molds started with Armada, Energon,
Like
and
the
Cybertron,
only thing I could think about in Beast Wars was K9 and
and that was a
Wolf.
retool.
Yeah, and that was a retool, and yeah, that's the only thing I could think of.
Well, because
Of
they did K9,
hmm
and then it was like, oh, hey, that was like a heavy retool. And then when they did the repaint of Cheetor into Tigertron and Black Arachnia with Tarantulas, it was only
right,
because it's justified by the show.
yeah.
I mean, there is a few others. You could look at Buzzsaw
Oh yeah, yeah.
from
But so,
Waspinator,
yep.
but it was very few and far between. It was almost like there was almost a justification if they were
It's
going
like,
to
ah,
do it.
crap. Buzzsaw was in the first lineup. We're not going to use him for a character. Waspinator.
Yeah, well,
That's what it kind of felt like. Because I remember Buzzsaw was on the back of the packaging for the first wave people.
well, it was actually
It was kind
Waspinator
of like
was.
that weird thing with like Power Rangers where Sphinx was always on everything,
Oh yeah, you're
and
talking about King Sphinx.
King Sphinx was always on everything with
He was.
Goldar, and it's like, but he's only in one episode.
He's a
Why
one
is he?
episode one shot. Well,
But
that's just it. It's to me, I find that there's just not much that could be done with this. And when the movie line when it came out and they threw motorcycle molds around here and there, even them they were just kind of like, okay, we're gonna just do a whole bunch of repaints of stuff here, but they're not really gonna have like one of them even was a GoBot homage, like of the
what
movie stuff. Like they didn't know what to do with motorcycles. It was a
what
different
was the
time.
name? What was the name of that character in the last movie?
Oh
The one of
God,
the
yeah, what was his
Decepticons, and
name?
he was like British, and he was the
And he
motorcycle.
died like 5 seconds
Well,
later.
they all died in 5 seconds. They all get this nice intro and like, oh, here's a little snippet of their personality. Here, Autobots, Autobots, boom, boom, boom,
Really
boom, boom.
left an impact on us, you know.
Oh my goodness.
But either way, I just wanted to just talk about that. People can leave their comments below of what they feel this could be, and I mean I think it's going to be a Walgreens exclusive, but
It
it's
should say Bar Gre- what's the universal greeting?
Ba Weep Grana Weep Ninibon.
It should say that, and he still has the rose in his hand. It should totally do that.
Offer him an Energon goodie.